everyone, I'm Kora, and today on MediaWhorz we will be looking at the first film in the Resident Evil franchise, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson and starring Milla Jovovich. So, let's enjoy this master of boring as I throw it to the round table.
You know, I still don't understand the hatred you guys have for this movie.
It sucks!
Let me explain something. I walked into this movie fully expecting it to be meh. And I was still disappointed. It was boring. I was afraid that I was just going to lean back and fall asleep. And this is the film's fault on multiple levels. The plot is boring, the characters are boring, and at the beginning of the film, it becomes abundantly clear that they just want to keep your heart rate up throughout the entire movie. The opening scene somehow tries to succeed in having a high-tension, fast-paced, anxiety-filled ID check.
What are you doing? I'm a cop!
Matthew Addison. I'm not getting a match.
Who are you?
I just transferred. They probably don't even have me on file yet.
The locals aren't efficient. It's possible.
Should I secure him here?
No, we take him with us.
Come with me if you want to live. And make sure to bring 3 accepted forms of identification.
As I was watching this, they're yelling, "Who are you? What are you? I just started today!" Just checking IDs. This does not have to be high tension.
You know, they are asking for IDs from people with guns. I don't think that should be overlooked.
They've got multiple people, armed and prepped, all aiming at 2 people who are on the ground and subdued.
He was an unidentified man, and they took a pistol off of him.
He was on the ground. Unless he farts out nerve gas, I don't think he's a threat. I'm sitting here watching this and thinking, okay, maybe this guy is someone who needs 5 guys with automatic weapons trained on him and having the guns jammed in his face, and the guys screaming at him in order to figure out what state his driver's license is from. But it seems ridiculously over the top. Hell, you can tell that by the ridiculous heartbeat soundtrack that they're just trying to shove down our throats in order to keep the audience awake.
It took more than 20 minutes for any form of action to get started. And before that, the movie tries to keep the audience's heart rate up with exciting stuff like walking downstairs, talking, getting on trains, checking IDs.
20 minutes seems like a very conservative estimate to me. I can't imagine that they got the action going that quickly.
No, I think it took longer than that for the action to get started, but I meant that it took 20 minutes just to get to where most of the plot was actually going to take place.
You're talking about the Hive?
Yeah, but the first 20 minutes, I think, was supposed to be used for character introduction.
Oh dear God, then they failed. And don't take this the wrong way. It's fine if a film takes its time getting to the action, but there was little in terms of interesting character building or world building.
Actually, I think the first 20 minutes were supposed to be creepy.
No. No, it wasn't.
You didn't think it was supposed to be creepy?
Maybe it was supposed to be, but it wasn't.
If it was supposed to be creepy, then that gives me another argument against it. But I want to stay on point. It failed at character introductions. I don't care about Alice. The only character I cared about at all was killed off almost instantly.
You're talking about Black Guy?
Yes, Black Guy. Because he was the only character I could identify. Of course, we also have... Michelle Rodriguez. I see we met again. I actually thought her character died early on. But it turns out it wasn't her, it was the other chick character who died.
Hey, she's dead!
Wait a minute!
She died! Wow!
Come on, dude, you couldn't tell them apart?
They're a group of individuals who are all dressed the same and were never established as characters prior to this emergency. No, in all seriousness, I couldn't tell them apart.
Plus, we weren't given any form of character to distinguish one from the other.
The basic premise of this film is that you have Alice and another guy, and they wake up in a mansion without any recollection of who they are. They then get interrogated by a tactical team that comes running in, and we learn that Alice is charged with guarding the mansion by posing as its resident. In reality, the mansion is the primary entrance to a lab owned by the Umbrella Corporation. The other guy is a cop who was investigating Umbrella, and their memory loss was caused by a nerve gas that the security system released as a countermeasure against outbreaks. It's a kinda stupid countermeasure, seeing as it must be targeted to cause amnesia, else they'd be dead 5 times over. Anyway, the end result is that we have a cluttered cast of characters that are, for all intents and purposes, indistinguishable from one another.
Oh, come on. There was Black Guy. There was that guy who got eaten by a bunch of zombies.
Yes, thank you. That really narrows it down. You do realize we're talking about Resident Evil, don't you?
Amusingly, I think the Red Queen AI came off as more human than the human actors.
I like the Red Queen. She was the AI system that had put the facility into lockdown.
I did too, and I just thought the computer program was the most human actor in this.
I was rather annoyed that they didn't really do anything with the whole Alice in Wonderland theme. Oh, we've got Alice and the Red Queen. Where are they going to go with this?
Nowhere!
Do you get that it's King Lear?
But back on topic. The lack of personality amongst the characters almost seemed intentional. Hell, Black Guy's name in this movie was One.
Are you shitting me? His name was One? That's barely better than calling him Black Guy. Hey, change it back.
As for Alice, isn't she supposed to be a competent soldier?
Yes, she doesn't have her memories, but she still has her instinct, which is why she was able to kick a zombie dog in the face in midair. The problem is that she has way too much instinct, to the point where all the highly trained and equipped soldiers look embarrassingly incompetent next to the amnesiac with no tactical gear and only scavenged weapons.
Hey, let's not forget about Black Eye. He was very competent.
Until he died, 5 minutes after showing up. Very competent.
Hey, it was at least 10. Don't exaggerate. Plus, he died in one of the most fucked up ways ever.
It's just no good anymore since you went away. Now I spend my time just making rhymes of yesterday. What is the loneliest number one?
That death was done better in Cube.
What is Cube?
A better movie.
Speaking of which, why? Why the hell does the defense system need a highly powered laser grid? Are automated turrets too complicated?
Let's talk about that for a second. If you have a laser grid, and you have a setting that's pretty much guaranteed to kill everyone, why go through 8 or 9 other settings just to tease them? That's what you do when you want a monologue and let the heroes escape.
And in terms of threats, this movie does not know how to use its zombies well. They were in a room filled with knee-high water, and I knew that there was going to be a zombie beneath the surface. What shocked me was how long it took for the zombie to pop up, because based on how the characters moved through the room, they must have stepped on the damn thing's face without realizing it.
At least the zombies were scarier than the liquor.
I don't know. The zombies went down with a headshot. The liquor went down...
When you deleted its file.
Yes, by means of a train.
No, I just photoshopped a wall in front of it. That stopped it right there.
However, I will praise this movie for at least avoiding Resident Evil continuity altogether. Unlike the other movies, this one ignores the characters and plotlines from the games. If you're going to ignore the stories and characterization from the games, just don't connect it to anything. The downside is that none of these original characters are even mildly interesting.
To be fair, this is probably the best Resident Evil movie.
Doesn't say much.
Anderson made Event Horizon, which is okay. And he also made Mortal Kombat, which isn't a great movie, but it was at least entertaining.
See, he's not all bad.
He was also responsible for the first AVP movie.
Fuck! Don't touch me!
Another kind of minor praise is that, unlike the later films, there wasn't quite as much abuse of the slow motion effects.
It was there, it just was less painful in this movie.
The only example I remembered was where she kicked the dog in the face, because That was such a phenomenally stupid scene that I just laughed my goddamn ass off.
My biggest complaint is this. How long does it take for you to start shooting zombies in the head when shooting them in the chest doesn't work?
Just how many of the characters in this movie didn't suffer from horror stupidity syndrome?
Oh, none of them were intelligent enough to have the condition. The character has to start out intelligent and then be dumbed down for plot convenience in order to qualify.
Alice is just vapid. She's the biggest reason that this movie doesn't work. I don't like Alice because there isn't anything there to like.
The blank slate characterization worked for Jovovich in The Fifth Element, but...
Blank slate characters work because we get to see how the film shapes their personality. But Alice stays blank from start to finish.
Kora, do you remember how they introduced this movie? They started showing footage from the movie, but it was being shown like it was really, really far away, and then slowly started to zoom in as the scene played out for some reason. I just kept thinking to myself, look, we don't want to wait longer to get through this piece of crap.
That was weird. The film starts off at a distance and slowly approaches the viewer. I think that Anderson thinks he's artsy sometimes. And he tries to do some things with film that he feels are artsy, but in reality are just plain irritating. Like the slow motion, the camera zoom, his new obsession with 3D.
Wrap this up, please.
I went into this film not really expecting much, but it still managed to fall short of my expectations. I went in expecting a mediocre, kinda dumb, but fun action movie, and I didn't even get that. I found it boring. The characters were not distinctive, and Alice is one of the worst offenders. The only reason I could remember who she was because she was the main character, and they made sure to put her in the damn bright red dress. What's more, the only character I liked at all got killed off almost instantly. There is nothing wrong with having a simple plot, but you have to supplement it with characterization or atmosphere. Otherwise, you end up with a bland, uninspired end product. I didn't enjoy much in this film. It's not horrible, and I'm glad they didn't try to reference the games much, because then it would have even irritated me more. If you're gonna mess up, at least don't go out of your way to piss off the fans. But it's not that good. I'm giving it a you should be ashamed. 4 out of 10 for me.
This movie makes several basic storytelling mistakes, in my opinion. The plot felt superfluous. I've seen movies where even slow-moving zombies can be made scary, but that's dependent upon the viewer being invested in the characters. Alice is not a character. The zombies seem to have more life than she does, and making her overpowered just ensures that we are never going to be concerned for her well-being. The CGI was poorly used and just looked stupid, so when I'm supposed to be scared or invested, I just felt bored. So, this is a you should be ashamed for me. 4 out of 10.
Alright. Before I start this little wrap-up, I want to say something that's been bugging me about fucking zombie movies for the past, goddamn, 10 years. 80s, well, honestly, 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s. I'll accept that maybe not everybody knows what the fuck a zombie is and how to fucking kill it. 2000s? It's a goddamn zombie. You see a corpse get off the ground, you shoot it in the fucking head. You do not pump 15 rounds into its chest so that it can keep shambling towards you and you realize you gotta shoot it in the head. You pull out the fucking shotgun and blow its brains all over the place. And it's called a fucking zombie. I don't care what the fuck you wanna say. It's a zombie. Alright?
The Z word, don't say it. Why not? Because it's ridiculous.
You don't walk around saying, living dead. First off, it takes too long. Nobody understands what you're saying. You're going to get your ass fucking eaten because they don't want to listen to your bullshit anymore. Just shoot it in the head and move on with your life. Also, double tap. Alright. Now, for the film. Anyone who's been paying attention has noticed I've said far less in this review than I have in any of the others. And that's because I have very little to say about this movie. I've watched it 8, maybe 9 times, and I can't remember much of it. I didn't even remember Alice was in the first scenes. I don't hate this movie, but I can still put the film on in order to go to sleep. It's not terrible, it doesn't make me angry, but it's not good either. it's not worth going out of your way to watch, or turn it off if it comes on TV. I'm gonna give it a meh. I just don't care that much about this movie. 5 out of 10.
As you have seen, I have spent most of this review defending this film, because I like this film. My opinion is that the action scenes were adequate. I had no issues with the plot. I actually liked a lot of the characters in this movie, including Black Guy 1. Although I wish he had more of a role in this movie. I see how there are flaws, but I still like it. I have defended it before, and I will continue to do so. I own it, and I can recommend this to people who like zombie movies. So, I will give it a low bargain bin. 7 out of 10.
So, with 2 You Should Be Ashamed, 1 meh, and 1 bargain bin, the average MediaWhorz rating is meh. And, well, I guess we're not all mad here, though I still am. See you next time.
I know Mila Jovovich is easy to forget, but
She was in that scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.